Hi y'all, so it's April from the Possible Diet, and today I'm going to show you how to make chicken knot pie. So it's like chicken pot pie flavors, but it's not pie. When I eat this, I usually eat it either like over noodles, like stroganoff type, like spaghetti squash or zoodles. Tonight I'm going to be eating it on top of baked Japanese sweet potatoes, but you can eat it on top or underneath anything. You can make like a mashed cauliflower crust and make it like a shepherd's pie if you want. But it's kind of like a white chicken stew, I guess, but without beans. So basically you start with 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter, depending on how many vegetables you're adding. And then once the butter is melted, you want to add a generous half cup of chopped onions. You want to add maybe like 3/4 of a cup, same like generous half cup of chopped celery. Again, I like a lot of vegetables in my stuff, so you're gonna, my recipe might say a half a cup. I might be like, I have a little bit more in there, so I'll put a little bit more. And then 3 cloves of garlic. I am going to use my garlic confit, which we know I love. We'll say like a couple of tablespoons of that. Now normally this is where you would add carrots, but since I'm using frozen mixed vegetables in a bag with peas, you can use plain old peas and carrots if you want. I'm including corn because I just feel a little luxurious, even though corn is pretty high in carbs. When I'm not actually having carbs, like pastry crust, I sometimes add corn because it gives me that like sweet carby fix, while still adding a little bit of fiber. So I'm going to add this at the end. That's why I'm not adding carrots now. But normally mirepoix is like onion, celery, carrots is what you kind of start any stew with. So go ahead and heat these up, coat them in the oil. You can add salt and pepper, but I like to add grilling seasoning for chicken, like chicken specific. This kind of stuff usually has some sage, some thyme, some oregano. I add a teaspoon of that. And then a few grains of salt. Say like a 4th teaspoon because most grilling seasoning already has salt in it. And then a little bit of pepper, my uber fancy pepper. So give this a saute, cook it until it's nice and softened. This is like a stew that we're making, so this isn't one of the examples like the Cajun chicken boats where you want the vegetables to have a little bit of crunch. You kind of want them to be like a little bit soft for this dish. Okie dokes. Our veggies are nice and soft. Now, you can use raw chicken for this and cook it. It's about 12 to 16 ounces depending on how chickeny you like your chicken pot pie. This chicken is already cooked. It's a rotisserie chicken that I just chopped up, so we don't want to cook it too long. I'm just going to add it in here mostly to just like heat it up. It's all chopped up and shredded. Give that a stir. Then you're going to add your frozen vegetables. These are, like I said, these are just frozen mixed vegetables, but you can use just plain old peas and carrots if you like. This is about 8 ounces, half a bag. Then we're going to add a half a cup of chicken broth. And then you just want to heat this up until the vegetables are defrosted and no longer frozen. All right, so our vegetables are heated through. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Well, it's a little weird. And then 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. Give it a stir. Reduce the heat to low. There's just something about the Dijon, it gives it like a little extra kick. You're gonna simmer this for about 5 minutes, and then you're gonna add in 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup of shredded Gouda. I like to make this on the heels of my Cajun boats because it lets me use up the extra Gouda. If you don't have Gouda, you can use cheddar cheese, either sharp or extra sharp, whatever you like, or mild. So once your chicken knot pie stew has been simmering for a little bit, you want to go ahead and add in that shredded cheese. Make sure your heat is on low so that your cheese doesn't end up curdling. Give it a stir. Let the cheese melt. And I know it's super, super simple, but sometimes when you just need to get like your veggies and your protein in, something like this is nice and warm and comforting, and you can eat it over spaghetti squash, you can eat it over zucchini zoodles or summer squash that you've diced up. I'm gonna put this over some Japanese baked sweet potatoes, which are sort of low glycemic index. They're still high carb, you know, they're not, you don't want to get away with too much of them, but especially if you dice them and saute them with zucchini, they add like a nice little comforting oomph to a meal. But if I'm gonna eat potatoes, Japanese sweet potatoes are generally my go-to. And I typically add Greek yogurt to them to pump up the protein. So enjoy chicken knot pie. There you go.